it was just really, really hard. I was told I couldn't put his name on the baby registry. I was told that
You couldn't put Dwight Howard's name on
I
the baby?
couldn't put father's name. I couldn't put the last name on my baby shower invitations.
Hey Raindrops, before we get into this episode, I want to invite you to join my community, my YouTube community, honey, of subscribers. So please make sure to subscribe to this channel. I love when y'all comment on my posts and my videos about all of my stars hopping on Reality with the King to share their lives. I cannot thank y'all enough, so make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. This is like, that's life.
Yeah.
That's life. And the biggest thing I'm learning about life is there's other things around it that's noisy, but you have to stay centered on the happiness. And it seems like the cheerleading, the coaching, the life is happy.
Yeah.
And they got all this noise.
Yeah.
So the job now is to figure out how to control the noise and not let the noise control you.
Yeah. That's what I think I am starting to struggle with a little bit because, you know, in the past it's like nobody wanted to listen to me. They watched me, but nobody really believed what I was saying. And now it's like coming out, and when people show you who they are,
Yeah.
you believe them. So now that it's being shown, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
she tried to tell y'all 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like,
That's the thing. And listen, sometimes it takes people 10 to 15 years to get it.
Yeah.
But one thing I always tell folks, the chickens will come home to roost.
yes, yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and that's when you sit there and just be like, you know what? I'm gonna let God be God, and I'm gonna be patient. That's all you do. I'll be like, no, we're good. To get started, I'm really happy you're doing this.
Me too.
Okay. Hey Raindrops, on today's very special episode of Reality with the King, I'm here. Listen, I'm geeked, I'm fanboying right now because obviously I'm talking to a reality icon. I'm talking to somebody who I have loved since day one, that she appeared on Basketball Wives. We are always asking where she's at. Y'all be talking to me like, yo, Loz, get her on the podcast. I'm happy to report I got her. She's beautiful in person, and she snatched. Give it up, honey, for Royce Reed. Honey, stand up with the girls. You are a snatch. You gotta.
Well, you can't get
Baby, you are a snatch.
I'm a cheer coach. I gotta be. You can't tell them to do something and I don't do it.
No, you look good.
Thank you.
You really do.
Thank you.
How have you been?
I'm better than I was.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have moments, but I think overall, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you look great.
Thank you.
The body is bodying.
Thank you.
The denim is deniming, honey. Yes! So, look, I'm so happy to get you on the podcast. You have been one of my most requested guests. Do you know that people miss you and miss seeing you on television?
I hear it, but I see it like in my comments, but I don't have like a shitload of followers, you know? When you look at the people I was on the show with, they have like way more than me because I kind of stayed low key. So I didn't think people miss me like that. I just thought they would say it to me, and every now and then I'll get a tag, but I didn't think it was anything like what you're saying.
No, they miss you. And I'm being honest when I say this. I'm a huge fan of Basketball Wives. I love this show since day one. When you came on the show, baby, you set it ablaze.
Aww.
The girls couldn't take you.
No.
The girls can take you. We'll get to that. But before we do that, I really want to talk to you just about you.
Yes.
You know, because I do feel like you're still like this mystery, which is very interesting. So one thing we know about you, you're a bomb-ass dancer. So talk to me, are you from Florida and were you always a part of like dance and cheer?
So born and raised, Orlando, Florida. I tell people all the time, I grew up in the hood. I did, Tangelo Park, but my parents had us very well-rounded. My mom had me in dance, gymnastics, modeling. I started cheering when I was 9. So I just grew up kind of in entertainment. And I mean, it's Orlando, it's Nickelodeon, you know what I mean? It's Disney, even though it's in Kissimmee. But that's just kind of what I grew up around. They were very strict. I wasn't allowed to date until I graduated high school. Yeah, so I think me
Were you Jehovah's Witness?
No, they just were like, my dad was like, you think I'm gonna let some teenage boy come and pick you up and take you somewhere? Yes. That's exactly what I expected you to do.
And that's what I want to happen.
You know, because I feel like when I went to college, I went to FAMU, it was a culture shock. Even though I grew up in the hood, I was always around black people. I always went to a white school. I wasn't allowed, like I said, to date or really hang out with my friends, so I didn't know how to navigate that. Even when it came to, you know, like relationships, the boyfriend that I had in college, I swore I was gonna marry, but I wasn't taught how to navigate a relationship, so it was like, I got mad at everything. I didn't know how to like really fight for stuff, even though my parents, to this day, have been married for over 50 years. You know, yeah, so I saw that growing up, but I also saw divorce. I'm still, to this day, I'm 43 years old, and I'm still trying to figure out like relationships, as you can tell. You know what I mean? But
Aren't we all those sis at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So you saw that growing up, of, you know, your parents being married. You did not date until after you graduated high school. So that lets me know you were a sheltered girl.
Very.
So were you very experimental after graduating high school and like just went boy crazy?
No, I definitely, well, let me say in a sense, I wasn't having sex. My virginity was taken from me in college. Yeah. But the first time that it was consensual, it was so different and it was emotional because I remembered what had happened to me. So I didn't have my first...
You were raped in college.
Yeah. I didn't tell anybody about it until my mom found a poem that I had written.
How many years later did you write the poem after it happened?
Only like 2 years.
And that's when she found it?
Yeah, and I had almost flunked out my freshman year because of it, but I just said it was because I was going to all the parties, because I was doing that too. I remember going to my first college party and my brother was actually there and the police came and I'm running around thinking I'm helping by picking up bottles and he's like, what are you doing? You're underage. And I'm like, oh yeah. Put it down and I just ran to the bathroom, you know, or in the back of the house like everybody else. But yeah, the first time it was consensual, I didn't know what it was supposed to feel like. So as I grew up, anytime that I would have sex, it was more so for the guy than it was for me because I didn't know. And even up until I think a few years ago, I was still kind of hung up on my first real boyfriend, you know, and he just got married. They just had a baby. I'm so happy for him. But it was definitely tough for me to see because I felt like that was my person. But I think he was my person because I felt like that's where I really let go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. But I didn't have my first orgasm until I was definitely in my 30s. And that was from playing with myself.
What?
And then I didn't have my first orgasm from like actual penetration until a few years ago.
And you're 43.
I know. Yeah.
Was it mental, you think?
It was definitely mental, unless I was doing it to myself, you know? So once I started learning myself, I was like, oh, this is great. I don't need a man. you know? But then I was like, uh-oh, you know, like, I can't just live life like having a vibrator sitting next to me, you know? But now it's like the last guy I was dating, he took time to learn me. And that made me feel good. I felt special. I felt like I was worth something, you know?
Oh, Royce, you are worth something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when I say, like you say, life be lifing,
Yeah.
you know, what people see on the internet, and I say all the time, what you're seeing on social media is a snapshot of a person. You don't really know what they're actually going through. And I'm that person where I don't need everybody to know when I'm having my worst times, or so I felt. But then as I started telling my story to more people, that's when I realized how many people I was helping, or that when I'm going through therapy, they're also going through the same therapy. When I'm talking about certain things, they're able to relate. So I didn't know people wanted to see that side of me because I didn't think anybody cared.
Well, that's I'm sad to hear that, because obviously the trauma you went through having your virginity taken away from you by, I'm assuming it was a college student, to have that happen to you, knowing that you weren't able to give that part of your body consensually. And what I'm hearing is the trauma that a woman deals with, having her body taken away from her forcefully, right? Forcefully, and then having to be in sexual relationship with men. Your first time should be special, and it should be something that you said yes to. And I now understand your thought process, because obviously you're still healing from what happened to you years ago. As you get to be in these relationships, do I trust men? Is sex really for the man to just get off? Are women supposed to enjoy sex?
I thought people were faking it. Like when women be like, oh, I love this, I love having sex, oh, I do it every day. And I'm like, ow. That's how I would think, like, ouch. You know, people would see me dating, and, you know, I had like my rule on the show, you know, my 6-month rule. And it was like, did you get to 6 months? And you know what I mean? And that was real for me, because when I did, you know, give myself to that person, I expected it to always hurt. Yeah. And you know, my mom, I look up to my mom so much. She's my best friend. And the only person my mom has ever been with is my dad.
Wow.
Yeah. So growing up even with that,
You wanted to mimic that.
Yeah.
You wanted your first to be your only. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. While you were in college, did you participate in activities dealing with like dance and, you know, all, okay.
Yep, I was in Mahogany Dance Theater, and they're still going strong. I was a president, and then I was cheering. I was a captain for 1 year. And people keep saying I was like kicked off the team. I was not kicked off. They broke my arm. Like, what did you think I was gonna do? I quit. Like, I did not get kicked off, stop. But, yeah, and then I was in the Essential Theater, but they were always mad at me because I didn't really do like audition for the plays, because I was cheering and I was dancing. They're like, Royce, this is your major. I'm like, but I know. So I didn't get back into acting until after I graduated.
So before reality TV, you were an actress. How did the reality TV show Basketball Wives come about then?
So I was dancing for the Heat. And even prior to that, I knew Shaunie, and we were always cool. Like, you know, she always respected me because I guess I was one of the dancers that respected the wives, you know? I wasn't trying to get with their men. I mean, come on.
Well, no, listen, I don't know that world,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, right now, one of the girls that I dance with, like, she's married to, like, the head coach of the Heat. So clearly, like, we saw stuff, you know what I mean? But I never was messing with the players, except Dwight, obviously. Yeah, but like I always respected everybody's relationship, and she came up to me one day and she asked me about if I would be interested in doing a show. And I was like, well, what kind of show? And she was like, you know, just kind of following those who've had relationships with basketball players, and you being a dancer, like even kind of navigating that. And I was like, oh, okay, because I had confided in her about some stuff I had been going through. And I trusted that it was going to be a very positive, show that really showed everybody's career. And yeah, I was hoodwinked, bamboozled. Yeah.
So you didn't watch the show before Shaunie approached you?
No, I was on the original season.
Well, that's the thing, because I want to clarify this. You were on season, but what episode did you get introduced?
1.
Season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
So when the show came about, Shaunie O'Neal approaches you. Did you know who the other cast members were going to be?
No, because I think at that point, I might have been the only one that she had talked about it with, because then I was introduced to Tom Huffman, who was the creator. And he started having me go to all the meetings. I was the one who pitched the show. When we went and filmed the little sizzle, I was the only cast member that went to all the stations. I was the only one that was in those meetings. Shaunie wasn't even there. It was me and Tom, yeah.
Wait, so when the show was being developed, Royce Reed, you were a part of developing the show?
Yes. I was the only cast member that went to all those meetings. I even have on my Facebook, I have a whole gallery when I was at all the stations taking pictures. Like, this is cool. Yeah, I met with all the heads. Yeah.
Were you also in the pitch meetings? And
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I did those meetings. She wasn't even there. Her best friend was there. It was me, Tom, and her best friend. Nobody else from the cast.
So throughout this pitching process, I never heard this story before.
I know.
Oh.
You wouldn't. Even though I've said it many times. I've talked about it, but it's always if you don't say anything, maybe nobody will see it.
Well, honey, they're gonna see this. So when you were pitching with Tom Hoffman, where was Shaunie O'Neal throughout this process?
They would call her on the phone, after the meetings. But I think she was doing another show. I think that's also when they had their own show.
Shaunie and Shaq.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think that was around that time. So.
Interesting. Yeah. So when the show got picked up, you knew instantly, I'm assuming. You knew when the show got picked up.
I knew how many stations even asked for it. It was I want to say it was around 8.
8 networks wanted Basketball Wives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know one that was big was the CW, but it didn't end up doing that one, obviously.
Yeah, because at the time, I think UP and the CW were doing American Next Top Model. So they were into reality television.
Yep.
So when you got the call that the show was picked up, did you know who the entire cast were then?
No, the only ones that filmed the sizzle was Erica, Evelyn, Jen. I want to say maybe Susie. She might have been there. I have a picture. But we were at this bar or something, and we were just talking. I remember the sizzle actually being really bad. It was so fake. It just didn't seem like any of us were real friends, because I didn't know them. But I think, I know how to sell a show, obviously. But I was in there and they were asking all the questions. I was giving them all the right answers. And
is there a reason you didn't ask for a producer credit? You didn't know?
I didn't know.
You didn't know too. You didn't know too. Is it safe to say that you're one of the creators of Basketball Wives?
I would say so.
Because you put everything together.
Yep. I sold the show.
You sold the show. You sold the show and you stole the show. Well, the show was stolen from you, allegedly.
Yeah, apparently I was fired. Okay.
Oh, Lord. So we'll get to that, too. Okay, so the show got picked up. You shot this sizzle that was apparently bad, but the show got picked up nonetheless. when you guys were filming, what we did see was it seemed like you were the underdog. You know, the one that they said these words. She's bummy. You're a bum. She's a gold digger. Did you know that these girls felt that way while y'all were filming, or was it you watching the episodes while it was airing that you knew they felt this way?
So I started hearing things, and I guess it was a blessing and a curse when I was on the show with Shaunie being a cast member and a producer, because she didn't tell me things, but she would tell Evelyn and Jen things that she would see on clips. So when they would ask me about something, or they would ask somebody else about something, and be like, where is this coming from? Or how did they hear this? So that's when we kind of started figuring out, like, people are being fed things. So initially, they were fine with me. Like, we were filming, and I remember even Sean coming up to me and saying, like, hey, we need something, because right now we don't have anything. It's boring. You know, like, we don't have anything for episode 1. Like, we need you something. And they still didn't get it until we did the pool party. But
explain to the audience what happened at this infamous pool party.
Yeah. So again, at this time, everybody was cool with me. Nobody had said anything sideways. No one was calling me a gold digger or a hoe or anything like that. So when we went to that pool party, it was like everybody was drinking and everybody was dancing around. And then my friend Irie, our DJ Irie, was like, hey, we're gonna have like a dance, you know, competition or whatever. And
Ludacris is there.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I was dancing for the heat, so I had already seen a lot of these people before anyway. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this for attention. I'm doing this because I want to win. You know, I'm a competitor. So it's a dance competition. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to win. And they were pushing me to do it, pushing me to do it, pushing me to do it. You could see that actually on the episode. And at first I was like, no, because something in my brain was like, this might not look right. But then I was like, I've done dance contests before, same thing. Now it's being filmed, yay. So I went and I did it and I won.
No, you did this, honey. You were this and this and this, and then a split, and you wore a black onesie. I will never forget it. Your bob was bobbing. You killed it. Listen, the audience, I am audience. We were watching it like, this bitch can dance. But obviously, there's a show to be made, right? And they had the other cast members say the opposite of what we, the audience, was like, no, she's low-key killing it. Listen, and it's funny to watch, but she's low-key, like, the girl is pop, lock, and dropping it. So, continue.
Yeah, so I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal either, because after I won, they were all clapping it up, like, oh my God, you did your thing. But then the next day, you know, they're like, okay, you're gonna film with, you know, these girls or whatever, and you're just gonna talk about the pool party. Okay, cool. So I think we went into, was it Evelyn's shoe store? I can't remember exactly. I feel like that's where it was. And it was like a bomb was dropped on me. And that's when they were saying all these things like, oh, it's a bad look for us, and we look crazy hanging with you. And I remember, like, I started like getting emotional. I think I even dropped a few tears because it came out of nowhere. These girls were just cool with me, and now all of a sudden I make you look bad, you know? And, you know, I grew up with everybody like liking me, so I thought, you know, I always had friends, like I was the one that was kind of cutting people off. So yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
Did you feel betrayed that the girls were saying this about you for the sake of making good TV?
Yes, and I think it continued to be that. And you know, I always defended myself, always. But I learned quick, because I even after the pool party and like I'm hearing all these things and we're filming, I cut my phone off. I didn't even talk to my family for like 2 days, and I didn't go to see my godparents for like a week because I felt maybe they felt the same way. Like, yeah, and it was on TMZ. I'm looking at comments, and I'm just like embarrassed. You know, I wanted to like hide, but it also, I think, taught me a lot about strength, and realizing, okay, now I'm really gonna have to fend for myself. I'm gonna have to defend myself a lot. So I think from that day on, after I cried that one little time, after that I was like, I'm gonna have to get these bitches together. Like, I didn't want to have to be that person. I wanted to be the fun Royce all the time. I wanted to be giddy, but I understand that they're making a show, and you want to make a show and you want to use me as your punchline, then I'm gonna be the star.
Before season 2 started filming, and you were going through this during season 1, did you ever talk to Shaunie about how you were feeling? Hey, Raindrops, yes, come through. We got merch. Finally, Carlos King is giving y'all merch. We got Raindrops, allegedly. Come on, allegedly mugs, allegedly t-shirts. We have it all. Make sure you go on carloskingshop.com. That's right, carloskingshop.com. Pick it up, tell a friend, phone a friend, and let's celebrate this all together. Now get into this video and make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and hit what? Yes, the notification button so you don't miss an episode. See ya. Or confide in her?
Not after filming. I tried to confide in her during filming.
Yeah.
And even with that, I realized I couldn't trust her, because prior to the show even starting, I had sent her a thread of where her ex-husband, you know, had been texting me, and nothing ever happened. He actually cursed me out because I wouldn't talk to him, but I wanted everything to be out in the open. I wanted her to see everything, so if anything ever happened or was said, she knew it wasn't true.
So while Shaunie was married to Shaq, Shaq was texting you flirty messages.
Yes, but this was when I was dancing. So,
as a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it came down to how he get your number, and he had gotten it from one of the ball boys, right? How'd the ball boy get my number? Because we used to all go out and hang at parties, like we were cool. But anyway, fast forward, I confided in her, and I was really like kind of pouring out my heart to her, even about some personal stuff that was going on, you know, back at home. And then that next day filming, I'm getting asked about those messages from Evelyn. It didn't air, but I'm getting asked about it.
The next day after you confided in Shaunie, Evelyn's asking you on camera about those same messages that only Shaunie could have known about because you said it to her the day prior.
Well, I had sent it to Shaunie before we even started filming. But I started confiding in Shaunie a little bit more because I felt like she was like a big sister to me, you know, because I still trusted her. But then that next day is when those text messages that she had had for months prior, all of a sudden now we're talking about them in a scene.
Is that the day you knew you could not trust Shaunie?
That's the day I really realized I couldn't trust any of them. I was like, you have no friends. Yeah.
Not even Susie?
And I mean, Susie was back and forth, but it wasn't someone that I could trust.
Right.
I knew anything I said to her was gonna get back. So.
Was Susie the producer's puppet? Because when I watched the show, again, this is before I was really, I started Atlanta Housewives in 2008, and I think Basketball Wives came out 2009 or something. So I was in the genre of reality, but not at a high level position. So when I watched the show, I always felt that, Susie, you messy, but I feel like someone is in your ear, because the stuff you're doing, Susie, is so outlandish that I'm like, are the producers relying on Susie to be the bone carrier, the messenger, the messy messenger? That's how I felt.
Yeah. Well, if that's what that means, then yes.
Okay.
She was definitely the one that was like, oh, I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. What y'all need me to do? I mean, even the fight with Kenya, like, she knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'll do it. Then she got her ass beat. But, I mean, yeah.
Poor Susie.
Yeah.
Where is she?
I have no idea. I have not spoken to Susie since I was on the show, which is crazy because we didn't have a falling out,
Right.
but yeah, I haven't talked to her at all. I talk to Keisha every now and then, Tammy every now and then, Mika, Kenya, the people that, you know, people don't remember, I guess.
No. They remember Tammy.
Well, it's outside of Tammy.
Tammy's
yes.
Susie
Yeah.
and Mika for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But they remember Mika Claxton child.
Yeah. Tammy is doing her thing.
No, she is, and she
Yeah.
loves you. She was on my podcast too. She loves
Aw.
you. She loves you.
Yeah, that's big sis.
No, she does love you. So, season 2 is starting, and I feel like this is when we did see what you said earlier, which is you started coming for these girls, and you started to stand up for yourself in a very big way. Because look, obviously you are a petite woman, and sometimes people.
I'm thick now, though.
Oh no.
I done got thick. Naturally, I done got thick.
No BBLs or nothing.
No.
No, you snatch, boo. You snatch.
Thank-
But you know how some people underestimate petite women. And one thing about you, you don't raise your voice, but you raise the vibration in a room. And people know not to play with you at all. So we saw moments of you and Evelyn have some of the most intense fights and arguments. What was it about you that Evelyn, from what I was watching as a fan, she seemed to just have a hard-on for you? Did you feel like you were a target?
Oh, definitely. And I felt it's because she underestimated me. You know, Evelyn tends to be quick, you know, with her words, but I was quicker, you know, and she would try and use certain, you know, situations against me, but then I would use facts against her. And I think it just came down to a tit for tat, and she wanted to always win, and she wasn't winning. Like, I mean, really everything. Everything she tried to say about me that was just a lie. It was always, you know, debunked. So,
Some of the stuff you would say to her had a lot to do with her alleged promiscuity.
that old saying, what you eat don't make me shit. Like, I really didn't really care about what she was doing as long as it didn't affect me. But then when I would start hearing stuff and then I would start seeing things, I'm like, oh, but you got so much to say about me.
You would hear this from like social media or just people?
Well, not even just social media, like just people, you know, and talk about, oh, in my DMs, like that. Back then it was Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, Instagram wasn't really a thing. So it was, I would see stuff on Twitter, people would send it to me, and then Facebook, you know, but a lot of that stuff I just kept close to the vest, you know, and there's still some things that I've heard that I just think is just too personal, so I would never say, no matter how much I can't stand her or whatever, I just would never say, you know. I do have a line for some people.
What do you think about Evelyn now?
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's doing. I know the last time that I said something was with that whole situation with OG. But yeah, I don't, you know, when I say like I don't F with somebody or that's saying they're dead to me, I know that's like mean to say, but I don't look at you, I don't follow you, I don't try and see what you're doing. I just, and it's not that I don't care, well, I don't care, but it's just, it doesn't affect my life, so why should I?
when you two had that infamous drink throwing match. Now look, what was interesting was season 1, I remember Evelyn threw a drink at some woman, and I think Susie was there.
I was there too.
Right, and it was a plastic.
Oh, no, that was with Susie.
That was
Okay.
Susie. It was a
Yeah.
plastic cup. So, okay, I'm like, okay, fine, at least it was plastic. When y'all threw a drink, it was glass. She threw it first. And obviously, as anybody, I don't care if you a saint or a sinner, you're going to defend yourself. When someone
Absolutely.
throws a glass drink at you, we saw that in that moment, what was going through your mind? Because I never felt that what you were saying in that moment warranted like, it was like the glass was being thrown over your head, like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but watching it, you were there, I felt like she was trying to hit you with the glass. So talk to me about, like, paint the picture for us. So that, even then, we were all like, yo, like, a glass. And y'all were like, low-key, kind of this close to each other, yeah.
So, I knew we were about to film that scene. I don't even remember what happened before it and why we were like getting together to film the scene, but we were. And I had already been getting her together anyway, so it was kind of like I knew she was finna come with the shits. And she just kept talking, and I was just like, okay, well, straight up, I don't like you. Well, why? You really care? Okay, well, I don't like your ways. I don't like how you do this. Whatever I said. And then it was like she couldn't come back at me fast enough with words. So then it was like, you're a bum, okay, and you're a hoe. And I was real calm. And then she just kept, I guess, because I wasn't bothered enough, I think that's what bothered her. And when she threw the glass, the only thing that went through my head was neck, nose, side of the head. That's the only thing that went through my head. I told you I grew up in the hood. I know how to fight. Fighting hurts. Don't hit me. Ouch. So I like to fight and get it over with if I have to. And I was taught neck, nose, side of the head.
Neck.
Neck, you can't breathe. Most people do this. Nose, and you get hit in the nose, your eyes water, you can't see. And you hit them on the side of the head, they fall out, and then you're done.
Yo, listen, I grew up in the hood of Detroit. That is...
I'm serious. Who likes to fight unless you're a boxer?
I don't like to fight at
Right,
all.
exactly. But if you have to, it's like, don't you want to get it over with as soon as possible?
I would assume so, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be fighting long enough for you to be hitting me everywhere. Like, ouch. Ow, that shit hurts. Like, no, I'm going to make sure this is over fast.
Oh, Royce, I love you. Okay. So, did the glass touch you?
No, I have cat reflex.
So you were able to dodge that.
I definitely dodged it.
But then your reflex, baby.
I tried to
Yes.
grab her around the
You
table.
grabbed. And you were so mad at yourself. You kept saying, I almost had it. First of all, you're crazy. As you're being whisked away by 300-pound security guards who don't look like Julius, Beyonce's bodyguard, you were still saying, y'all almost had her. Bring me back, I'm gonna get her. I'm like, Royce, girl, you were fixated on, I was this close to touching her.
Yes, because I wanted her to feel me, I did. Because she had been playing with me for so long, and it had just been words. But the moment she tried to touch my body with a glass, what? All gloves are off, literally. I grabbed her and I tried to hit her with my glass, but I tried to hit her with the glass. I ain't throwing shit. But then, you know, they'll drag her ass across that table, and that's when they pick me up. And I'm like, in what reality show ever have you seen the bodyguards get there that fast?
Are you alleging that it was premeditated?
Yeah, I think like they expected us to fight. I think they knew that that was her plan, and damn, that close.
That close. Well,
I just needed to land one.
no, bro.
That's just one. Like,
I'm glad you didn't touch her, bro.
Why? She done touched too many people. Like, what?
I know.
Nah, man. Like, you know, she never filmed with me again after that.
I was going to ask you that. So what happened after that scene? Because we did not see you two together.
She didn't want to film with me anymore.
Because she knew you weren't the one to play with.
No. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. She definitely got it then. If she thought about it, maybe she'd get me with words, but I'm going to kick her ass. No, you're not. You're not going to do that either. Because I also know how to choke you out. So either way, you would have been on the ground. What did Kevin Hart say? You on the ground? Or who is that? Jamie Foxx, you on the ground? I'm on the ground. I was going to go on about my business.
Was Evelyn protected by production?
That's a hard question. I would say she was protected in the sense of when she did all this craziness, she never got in trouble for it. Or she never got, like, warned or reprimanded. Yeah. But they were for the shits. Like, they wanted it. They loved it when she walked her ass across the table. You know what I mean? They were like, this is great for TV. And I was like, I need to get off this show.
Yeah.
You know, I work with kids. That's why people keep asking me, like, why did you leave? Why'd you leave? I had an entire dance company that was all black girls. And I'm sitting there, we had a whole pledge and everything. And I'm talking about, you know, your body is your temple. You're protected. You know, your confidence is tough. Your self-esteem is high. No one can make you feel inferior without your permission. This is part of their pledge. And I'm on a TV show where people throwing glasses and fighting and calling each other bitches all the time. You know, I could see every now and then, but like all the time, it didn't feel right. I felt like a hypocrite.
What was it like working with Jennifer Williams? Did you feel like at that time, a lot of people said that Jen was Evelyn's lapdog? Mm-hmm. Did it feel that way filming those seasons?
Yeah, and I said it. I did. I think I said it during filming. I said it to her, even in text messages. Like, I told her that. I'm like, you do not have a mind of your own when you're with her. You know, I'm like, when it was just us, like, she was cool. Like, Jen is a cool person, you know? And occasionally I'll talk to her. Like, you know, I went to visit her a couple years ago during quarantine. Like, she is a cool person. Mm-hmm. But when she was with Evelyn, no. She was exactly how she was on the show.
What do you attribute that to? Is it the fact that Evelyn was close to Shaunie? Is the cool girls? Was it that cliquish?
Well, they were actually friends before the show.
Yeah. So
I think like that just was their dynamic. You know, it wasn't something that built like that, you know, or was being built like that. It was like that from the beginning. You know, she was ride or die for Evelyn. You know, it wasn't always vice versa, but she would defend her to no end.
Tammy then came on the show and made her mark. One of the, I'm sure you've seen this, one of the scenes between you and Tammy that gets played constantly is this.
Yes.
Is the head of the face. And a lot of people always said, y'all underestimate Royce. That Royce ain't scared of none of y'all. Mm-hmm. And what we all saw that was so fascinating is all the girls at one point in time attempted to try you. Mm-hmm. And your quickness in defending yourself very subtly, like, because you're not loud, you're very much like, I can do it too. Yep. We can do this all day, sis. Boom, 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 boom. Did you feel like Tammy was testing you in that moment?
Yes. And I felt like that because she had been testing everybody. And I kind of felt like everybody else was kind of being like, oh, I'm not finna fuck with her, you know? But I've always been the same person. Like, I'm gonna fight my own battles. So when that scene happened, I think that's actually what started our friendship. Because I was maybe like the one that like stood up to her, but also she saw it was cool as shit. I'm cool, damn it.
No, you are, but this is the thing. You are definitely one of the fan favorites, and I know you don't see it, but as somebody who's in the industry, who kind of knows my audience of reality TV lovers, you are always amongst the conversation when people talk about that show, because you were always so authentic. You weren't trying too hard. You weren't trying to be somebody you weren't. We all appreciated the authenticity you brought to the show and how you were able as a petite woman to defend herself amongst these, you know, when you compare sizes, these women are obviously taller than you, but you never back down to a fight. And we love that about you, because in a weird way, you sort of represented the underdogs, who we were in our lives at one point, when people just kind of like tried to play us, and you was like, no, you're not gonna play me. And then the moment they knew they couldn't try you, like with Tammy, she said, I respect it, because Tammy and I are friends, and she loves you. Tammy said, she was like, I would test people like, yo, what's good? And she will get her respect that she has for you based upon how you handled her.
Yep.
So we do credit you with that. What was it like working with Tammy?
I love Tammy. She was fun. Like, I remember one scene that they didn't ever show, I think it might have been on like extra footage, when we went to church for Kenya, and we were in there and she didn't have any drawers on. She was just talking about it the whole time when we in church, and like, we had no idea we were gonna actually be in church. We just thought we were going to the church to have this conversation for Kenya about doing some music video or whatever. And it was like, now we're going, you know, into the actual like church, and we're sitting down. I don't even have a purse or anything, so it's like, damn, now they doing tithes. And like, this is one of the churches where they don't pass a thing around. You have to get up and walk. And I was like, bitch, I don't have anything. And she's like, girl, I don't even have no drawers on. And I'm like, what are we gonna do? It was terrible. And did she get up and like walk? I don't know if she put a napkin in there or what. I know I just sat there and was just embarrassed, like, I'm sorry,
She had a fur cloth,
God.
and she just put a napkin.
But, I mean, just that, oh, she was always fun to film with. And, you know, she would get mad at me when I would tell her she was wrong about something.
And that's the other thing. You would be the only one to tell her, like, yo, that wasn't a good look. Yeah.
She ain't like that too much. But, I mean, but she knew I was going to say it, you know. I feel like a real friend will tell you even when you're wrong. So, yeah. But I love her. Like I said, that's my big sister.
Why did you decide to leave Basketball Wives?
I had gotten the play, the Platinosa Collard Greens, the off-Broadway play, and I enjoyed it so much. And just me even being, like, having to film and, like, learn my lines and stuff, I just was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I miss acting. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm on TV, but I miss acting. And I was like, I can't continue to do this show and then expect to have, like, a real career in the industry, because it's going to come with a stigma. And then also my dance company. So I just thought it was just time to walk away. And I had said something to, you know, a couple of the producers at the time. And, you know, I think it was amicable because they didn't even attempt to offer me a contract. So I think for some that maybe don't know I had this conversation, you know.
A lot of people think you were fired from Basketball Wives.
Right, no. It was an amicable departure. No, I did not talk to Shaunie about it, because why? But I did talk to a couple of the other producers, and I was just like, I think it might be time. So, yeah.
Is there a reason why you did not talk to Shaunie about leaving the show?
Because she liked me. Like, I mean, you saw how she treated me. So I didn't see the need to.
How did you feel about?
Even that thing with her boyfriend at the time on the show, that young dude.
Yeah.
Like, something had come out that allegedly it was Evelyn who put it out there that he had tried to talk to me, or he had bought me some shoes.
Yes.
I'm like, now y'all know I wear sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the shoes I have on, I keep saying don't show my toes because my toes aren't done. But like,
well, you're a dancer, so
yeah,
we get it. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't even wear shoes like that. Like, you would have been better off saying he got me some sneakers. But she never came out and like said, I know this is not true. She let it go. She just never came out and said anything. And I just felt like that was the final straw for me, because you knew for a fact it wasn't true and you still said nothing.
Why does it make you get emotional now thinking about it or talking about it?
I guess because I'm an honest person. I don't lie. And if something comes out to where something I said, turns out to not be true, it might be because of what I was told, or it might be because I misinterpreted something, and I always admit that. I'll always be like, oh, my bad. Or even when I'm telling a story, I'll say something like, I might be lying to you, but this is what I remember. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't just make up stuff, and if I know something is not true, I'm gonna say it. I don't care who it's about. Even if it's about somebody I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, if something was said, let's say about Jen and like one of my exes on the show, and I knew it wasn't true, I'd be like, I know Jen and I ain't like the best of friends. We probably not friends at all, but that's not true.
Right.
I do, you know what I mean? So I guess I expected the same respect. And when I didn't get it, I realized like, damn, they really don't give a about me at all. So I felt like I was just a figure. Like, I'm just a cast member. I wasn't a person.
You weren't a person.
Yeah, I was a character.
That they could play with. Mm-hmm. Working with Shaunie, again, this woman approached you to do the show. You helped pitch it, develop it, and to get it sold. And then all of a sudden, the friendship you thought you had with her went this way. Mm-hmm. People have said that it was challenging working with Shaunie, because how can we work with somebody who is the executive producer of the show, gets to watch the footage, and we have to be in scenes with her. Mm-hmm. Was that very hard to do?
It was, and I think it was probably harder for those who came after me because she was on the show a lot more. When she was with us, she did season 1 partially. Mm-hmm. And then, she would step in every blue moon, but like with them, she was on the show a lot. So when I see situations like, I think it was Brandy, mm-hmm. It's like, I felt that when the whole thank you for your services and all that stuff. One, she didn't have the power to fire anybody. So that's, people say, oh, this is Shaunie's show, this is her show. No, it's not. It's not. But I think just watching that and feeling Brandy's like energy just through the screen, it's like, girl, I know how you feel. Like, I've been there and nowhere near the level that she had to deal with it. So I think it's unfair for sure, especially when she's telling certain people what someone else is saying.
And it appears that her allegiance was with Evelyn.
Absolutely.
A lot of people have said it. Tammy has said it on my podcast too, that they all were shocked to come to the realization that I thought we were friends until it became a choice between me, what I'm doing, and Evelyn, and that side was Evelyn and Shaunie all day long.
Absolutely.
Everybody who's come on my podcast has said that, so that has been your experience too.
Absolutely. I mean, is there a scene where she's ever telling her that she's wrong? I mean, I didn't watch like all these past seasons. I watched up until, I think I watched the first season of LA, and then I watched the episode with the table with
Malaysia.
with Malaysia. I watched that one, and like I watched pieces because people would post snippets, and then the thing with the one with Tammy, and what was her name? Laura. Yeah, and then I saw the episode with OG, but from what I remember, I don't ever seeing a scene where she's ever told her that she was wrong.
When was the last time you spoken to Shaunie?
Was she on my last reunion?
I think so.
So then that would be it.
That would be it. You two do not have a relationship. Would you want to have one?
I would be willing to have a conversation with her. Just simply because, it's been time. I guess I don't think it would necessarily give me or make me feel any better because you still did it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the purpose would be.
Closure, maybe? Because this is the thing. I think, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I get the sense that there's a lot of disappointment that you have in her. Because,
but it was true.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And just to be able to express, you brought me on this show as a willing participant, nonetheless. But how can you bring me on this show? I'm confiding in you because I think you're big sister, and then every chance you guys get, I'm the butt of the jokes. I am at the crossfires with these women who are clearly closer to you. I'm having conversations on camera. It hasn't even aired yet, and they know what I'm saying. And I think there's a conversation of expressing how disappointed you are, and you're just not feeling safe. Because I think the biggest thing when I hear people talk about that show back in the day, I'm not gonna say what's going on now, is nobody felt safe being on camera, telling their truth, because they all felt that at the end of the day, whatever I say is gonna get back, and y'all going to edit me to look the craziest possible, because this woman can watch the footage and can create a storyline based on, like you said, things that are completely untrue.
Yeah. I guess in that sense, I would just ask why, because there were a lot of scenes that were filmed that never even made the extra, stuff. And these were really good scenes. And it was just kind of like when you would watch an episode and you'd be like, well, what happened to when wait, that's not, oh, I see what you're doing. It's like changing a narrative of things. And I think me and Shaunie, I felt like we were close. You know what I mean? So even some of the conversations that we would have, when you're filming things, a dinner can be 3 hours,
right,
but it's turned into maybe 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So we would have really deep conversations, and then it would turn into that. And that would be the only part that was shown. So it kind of felt like we were being baited. Let me act like I care, oh, it's okay. Oh, I'm so sorry you feel this way. Or, well, is there anything I can do? All that. And then the next subject comes up that we have to discuss. And then it's like all the shit hits the fan. And now everything we talked about an hour ago, none of that matters anymore because this is what they want. So I would just, I guess, a why, but I don't know if I would believe it.
Well, she's with the pastor now.
Okay.
So, no, I'm saying it could be a rebirth.
Listen, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Okay.
So that does nothing for me.
Okay.
I don't want to say it in a mean way, it just does
Oh,
nothing
no, I
for me.
get it.
You know,
No, I get it, yeah.
I don't even go to like church anymore because I just feel like it's more of a business now than it is about God. So, yeah.
Would you ever return to Basketball Wives? If me and the Raindrops do a petition to get you back on the show.
Would you have something to do with it? The reason I'm saying that is
Go
because
ahead.
when I watch like your shows, I feel like you got to get to give to get. So you get your drama, but it's real.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, these are real stories. This is genuinely like what is happening. You know what I'm saying? I feel like with Basketball Wives, it's just always like, let's film some bullshit, you know? I mean, people ask me about the scene where I told them where Gloria and Susie, I think it was, having dinner. Why did you do that? Y'all really think that was my idea? I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But it only made sense for it to be me because clearly neither one of them were talking to anybody else. So it was like, Royce, you have to. So I did it, you know? Again, give to get to give. But yeah.
No, and the thing is that it's funny. People know this about me. I'm a huge fan of that brand. I do love the show. I have my critiques about the show. I say it on this podcast how I feel like personal story just isn't on the agenda for that particular show. And it's such a disservice to it because you ladies have always been dynamic. And I always felt like if people know the other side of you guys, and it's what you said too, like I don't know any show, well, there's other shows now, but back then it was like every episode was like, not an argument, it was like.
Right. It was
you know what I mean? It was always like, it's one thing to have an argument, shade fest, whatever. I will say this, I have never seen an episode of that show where we were all laughing as a group.
Right.
Like everybody is enjoying each other and we're laughing.
Right.
And we're kikiing or we're all crying because one sister is going through this and we all as black women can relate to it. You know, you have to have that balance and that's the one thing I wish the show would showcase that it's just not.
Yep.
So unless I'm producing Basketball Wives, that's the only way you come back. So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, well we'll figure out something or something else for you.
Hey.
Okay, so when you left Basketball Wives, what did you do after that?
So I, obviously did the play, and then I continued with my dance company. I closed the dance company in when was COVID? 2020?
2020.
Okay, so I closed the company in 2019, and that was the year we won Worlds, and I was like, oh, this is a perfect way to go out. But then, kids have a way of like talking you back into some stuff. So I brought back a few of them in 2021 and we attempted to go back to Worlds again. And they did okay, but it was nowhere near as successful. But then I was like, y'all, I'm done for real. Like we were practicing in my garage. That's how serious I was about being done. Yeah. And then I got the offer to be the head coach at BCU.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that's what I've been doing. I mean, I do like a few, Tubi movies,
I love a
there.
Tubi movie.
Oh, me too. That's what all the black
I'm a
movies are.
Tubi
Yes.
subscriber. Yes.
But I'm saying that's where they are. So I've done a few Tubi movies with Dennis Reed, no relation. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then raising my son, being there for him and just navigating life in 2023 because it is so much different than when we grew up.
It is. And social media is...
It's a blessing and a curse.
And it's a stamp on where we are as a nation. It's remember back in our day, because we're the same age, where you just had a TV.
Yes.
And that's what you had. We loved it. Watch TV during dinner, all those things.
You had a VCR if you had, and don't forget.
VHS tape. Hit that record, because if you miss a performance,
you gotta wait.
You gotta
till the rerun.
Or it's gone.
Or it's gone. Yes.
It's that. Social media has overtaken this world. So going into you being a single mom right now.
Yes.
Obviously, your child's father is Dwight Howard, who was a basketball player on the Miami Heat when you two first met.
Orlando Magic.
I'm sorry, Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
Orlando Magic is who he was playing for.
He actually hadn't played a game yet.
Oh, well, how did you and Dwight meet?
See, that's a whole nother misconception. Yeah.
How did you and Dwight Howard meet?
Yeah. So, me and a couple of my friends, Nikisha, Angelina, not that y'all know them, but we were actually going to see The Notebook at Pleasure Island. That's what it was called back then. And we were at the concession stand, and he walked in with like some of his friends. And Nikisha's like, oh, I think that's the rookie. And I turned around and I was like, rookie who? Because we weren't dancing that year. We both didn't try out. Well, I tried out, but then when I saw Nikisha and Anise walk in regular clothes, I said, I'm not trying out anymore. Because I didn't want to be on the team without them. That's how close we were. But anyway, so she was like, Magic rookie. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Went back, concession stand, everything. They walk up to the concession stand. And he's looking, and then he goes, y'all in my book. Hello? Hi. Y'all in my book. I'm like, sweetheart, what book? My yearbook. I said, no, I'm grown. He's like, no, my magic book. Because he still had that like young, even like conversation. But he was like, my magic book. He's like, I'm the rookie. And I was like, oh, okay, I heard, right? And I had a boyfriend, the one I was talking about from college. So I wasn't really trying to give him like the time of day. Well, I went into the theater. My then boyfriend calls me. He thought I was at the movies with somebody else. He thought I was cheating on him. So I walk out, and I'm like standing in front of the bathroom. He walks over, and now I'm in tears because my boyfriend is now breaking up with me. Yeah. So he's standing there, and I walk in the bathroom because I'm like, this is weird. But then when I come out, he's still sitting there, and he's like, you good? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, no man should make you cry like that. Thank you. That was that conversation. After the movie, because I think they went to see Transformers. After the movie, we're all in the parking lot because they're letting out around the same time. And he comes over, and now my friends have already amped me up. Like, girl, fuck him. You could do better. All this stuff. So when we see Dwight and stuff again, he comes back, and he asked me for my number. So he got my number. And for like the first month, I didn't like really give him any like real hope. Because if he called me before 10 o'clock, I would be like, it's too early. I was just being a bitch for no reason, but...
Were you not attracted to him?
It wasn't even that. I was trying to just make so I thought we were going to get back together.
Of course.
I was trying to make him jealous. You know what I mean? So when I realized we weren't actually getting back together, I was like, let me stop being mean, right? So we went to the movies, and it was fun. And then I remember the first time we went to the movies, like a kid and like his dad recognized me as a dancer and they didn't recognize him. So that was an ongoing joke we had. You know, he's like, dang, you big out here, huh? I was like, nobody really knows the Magic dancers. He probably has a season ticket, you know? But as time went on, like, I was like, you know, he has a good heart. And he would make me laugh. Like, we had fun. We had grown into being like friends. And then he started taking me to like different events. And, you know, my former coach would see us there and she'd be like, oh, what's going on here? And I'm like, nothing, like, we're just friends, you know? And then he started introducing me more as like, this is my girl. When did we have this conversation? But then it ended up being like, we were together. And it just grew. And that was July 31st, 2004.
You remember the date?
I do. I remember that date. I remember the date that Braylon was conceived, because even how that happened.
How did that happen?
I had found out that December, because he didn't want me to go back and dance. I did dance for Magic one more year. Not that year, but the year after.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to the Heat. He came to my going away party and everything. I ended up finding out that he was cheating on me with a girl that I was on the team with. Yeah. And some of my teammates knew. So that caused even a rift between me and some of my teammates. So, I mean, we're all okay now. We just had our Heat reunion.
Okay.
But we're fine now. But
I hope it wasn't heated. But
no.
Yeah, okay.
But I broke up with him. That was that December. So I wasn't answering his calls. I was like, leave me alone. I hate you, you know. Then I got in an argument with Tracy from Superstars. People know her from Super Black Girl. Like, Tracy and I used to be like this. She was one of my best friends. I got into it with her at one of the games because she wanted to give me a size large shorts and spandex. I was an extra small. So I got suspended for 2 weeks. I went to Acapulco with DJ Irie. When I came back, my phone was blowing up. And Irie was like, oh yeah, we played a Magic. I said, when? He's like, tonight. That's probably why he hitting you up. So I had been gone. But he had been T-mailing me, you know, sidekick, yep. He had been T-mailing me, he had been aiming me and everything, all the apologies, I miss you, I love you, all that stuff. And it was like, come see me, please, you know, let's just talk, all that. And I listened to my friend Irie. Just go see what he got to say, man, you know. Maybe he got something good to say. Maybe you'll forgive him. Nah. I ended up going to the hotel. I listened to what he got to say, or had to say. I was getting ready to leave. He asked for a hug. The hug turned into March 15th, 2007. And Braylon came in November. Yeah, just 3 weeks early. He was actually due on his birthday.
Really?
Yeah. But when I tried to tell him I was pregnant, he apparently was asleep for 2 days, even though he had just played a game against Milwaukee. Listen, I remember stuff.
He wasn't answering the phone.
No. So I had to call his best friend. But when I found out, I boohoo cried.
Why?
Because I saw my career going like down the drain. Very selfish, I know, but I actually wanted to have an abortion. And I called my mom, and
How old were you when you got pregnant?
I was 26.
And how old was Dwight?
He was, what was he? I want to say 20, what was he, 23?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
You called your mom.
I called my mom, and I was hysterical. And she was going frantic because she didn't know why I was crying so hard. And then I finally told her, you know, I was pregnant. And she goes, oh my God, I thought you killed somebody. But I told her, I was like, but I'm not gonna keep it, I'm not gonna keep it. And she was like, you need to tell your dad. I was like, what? No. You know, I'm like, I couldn't remember anyone in my family having a baby out of wedlock, you know? So I was just like, absolutely not. And so I then started even asking him, like, I need money, like, so I can, you know, get this done. And he said he wasn't gonna send it until he saw me.
Dwight said this.
So he wanted me to come all the way back to Orlando.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to do it in Orlando because people knew me in Orlando. Granted, people knew me in Miami, but not so much Fort Lauderdale. All right.
Right.
So I then had to ask my mom again, and she was like, only if you tell your dad. So she put my dad on the phone, and I told him, and he was like, huh. I said, but I'm not going to keep it. He was like, what? I was like, I'm not going to keep it. You don't have to worry. He's like, baby, we don't do that in this family. And I was like, do what? He was like, you were woman enough to lay down. You've been woman enough to take care of this child. He was like, you're not 16. He's like, you're grown. So Braylon and my dad are like this, but when they're not, they're like that. But they are like two peas in a pod, and that is my heart walking outside my body. So, you know, I get emotional sometimes talking about it because I remember how adamant I was about not wanting to keep him. And you know, I ended up finding out he was dating some other girls, and it was just really, really hard. I was told I couldn't put his name on the baby registry. I was told that
You can put Dwight Howard's name on the
I
baby?
couldn't put father's name. I couldn't put the last name on my baby shower invitations. Wanted me to do a prenatal paternity test in their offices. And I said no. They were asking me to sign all this stuff, all these NDAs, and I was like, no, you know. I have all, and remember, y'all seen my bag with all the phones and stuff in it? It's the same when it comes to email. Like, I keep everything. I have all those phones because I just wanted to have, I guess, a moment where even if I wasn't here anymore, if people found it and they were able to get into them, that they would see everything. Because I never thought that I would get a chance to really tell my story.
Hey Raindrops, part 2 of my exclusive interview with Royce Reed drops next Tuesday at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern.